Yo, yo. What's up, YouTube? It's your brother from another mother, or auntie, or cousin, or whoever, however you look at it. Mr. Legit Hustle. How y'all doing today? Today we're going to be talking about the death of social media and how to avoid falling victim to it. I actually came up with this idea from a video I came across a couple days ago on YouTube on this very subject. PJ, what's good, my brother? Glad you pulled up with me, man. But I did the video I saw the other day gave me an idea for this, so this is how this became my topic for this week in my reaction videos. But before we get started, I'll be totally honest with you. As many of you probably know, there was another mass shooting today in Minneapolis, and for me personally, I have a soft spot forever when it comes to anything regarding children, man. So rather than starting off with just the regular up-tempo, feel-good hustle music that I normally would start off with, I'm gonna play something a little different. Plus, somebody mentioned in this song recently had a birthday. So we're going to start off with my song Hood Angels. And I want to send out my deepest condolences, respect, and love to the victims especially and their families. And even the survivors, being that young, having to witness something so senseless and so tragic, their lives will never be the same. So with that being said, we're going to start off the show a little bit different. I'm actually going to play two songs today. We're going to start off with Hood Angels, then we're going to get into the regular Legit Hustle vibe. But I wouldn't be myself if I didn't show some respect and love, especially considering that the victims are so many children. I hope y'all can feel that, you know what I'm saying? And also, my dog, I never got a chance to meet you in life, but I'll say this. Long live Neighborhood Nip, man. Let's get it. Oh, man, it's for everybody that we lost, man. Especially my brother, Darius Javon Sanders. I know what I'm gonna do it right. Y'all is an angel. I know I'm wide awake, still feels like I'm dreaming. Children dying on the street, their mama's always grieving. Every time I look around, man, another nigga bleeding. And you can't trust your friends, cause some niggas stay scheming. Trapped in our own hoods, always misunderstood. Family say you're no good, till you wish a nigga would. Turn on the TV and they callin' niggas thugs. Try and convince the world all niggas sell drugs. Instigating genocide, it's us versus us. So there's no more fucking love, and there's no more fucking trust. Feels like a lie saying there'll be better days when you're peeking over shoulders, case you gotta duck it straight. Our elders losing faith, too hurt to even pray. The nigga lose it all, throw it away with one mistake. The black family is damn near a myth. The people that the most high gave the greatest gift. Survived being colonized, some survived the ships. Turn pain into poetry that flowed off our lips. The same words that taught the world how to dance, nigga, how to lean your hat, nigga, how to rock your pants. Turned on each other, started using our hands to gun each other down instead of building up a man. Instead of love, since we only share our pain, if we turn that shit around, man, there's so much more to gain. You say I'm lying, then how would you explain? There's a whole fucking list, nigga. Let's look at some names. Look at Pop, look at Big, look at Dog, X10, Fat Pat, Camouflage, look at Dollar, Soldier Slim. Mac Dre was a legend, and look what we did to him. Killing off our brightest for some motherfucking gems. I cried when Nipsey died, seen this shit a million times. On top of all that, I had just buried mine. How could it really be? They both was 33, so I see Black Sam, can't help but see me. I know the pain, know the shame, know the hurt of looking at your brother on a motherfucking shirt when he stood up like a man for the turf, and the turf turned around and they put him in the dirt. Tell me what's the reason, I'm asking really pleading. I ain't getting no answer, so my heart turned to cement. Brag about taking caps, how we busting straps, but little babies dying, why they taking naps? We let the world change us, tell us we all gangsters, and our women hoes when we really hood angels. They never told us even angels stumble, and lose their wings sometimes just to keep you humble. That is really not the same when a nigga throw the game and a nigga just get tripped and he fumble. That's not the time to crumble. I promise, man, I'm not just trying to sun you. It's only out of love I'm trying to warn you. I picked up his pen and what came out was tears. I thought they were mine. The most I said they his. He told me write this down and give it to his kids. Tell them who they are, what it ain't and what it is. His little hood angels. Yeah, nigga. Little hood angels. And when I first decided I was gonna drop some music and share my thoughts with the world, man, I ain't doing this to make no nigga bob their head, man, tap their foot. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gotta speak up. It might cost me my life, and I might say so one day. That caused me, you know? Somebody gotta stand up. Somebody gotta speak on this shit. That's the thing. The little hood ain't. Yo, yeah.
Rest in peace, Nip.
Yo, man, this one goes out to everybody out there getting it on there.
And every other soul.
However you getting paid, how you paying your bills, hopefully it's legit. You know what I'm saying? But even if it ain't, do the best you can, you know what I'm saying? And get it on your own. Yeah, West Coast, slow motion. Waking up the morning views of the ocean, freshen up your swag, roll up your neck back, 40 on your hip, dip to the west side. Between the trees and the breeze is where you reside. You let the 6-4 dip slow, side to side. The good life, no longer stressing on that hood stripe. Your kids bless you, can't fetch you, doing all right. On top of that, today you rhyme with your lady. Yep, that's your baby, play with her, they must be crazy. Had the hood going crazy when them shop doors open. Cuts in the city, that's what you been promoting. And plus it's clear to see that every real G is positively positive to the community. Productivity, that's the slogan. Pushing back on the force is trying to stop us from growing. They can't hold you back. When the door of opportunity opens up for you like a Cadillac, you ain't having that, you came too far to try and travel back. And plus that's way too whack. So when the plans stay rolling and the dope keep folding while your life unfolding, then you keep going. Never mind the haters, can't make or break you. Will hustle take you when your faith overtakes you. Yeah, it feels good when you get
I hope the audio is good. I ain't sure.
Putting families in, fly home, but you gotta stay strong when you're walking on your own and turn BS.
Riding out with the homie and Jill Hustle, man.
It feels good when you get
it feel good when you getting it on your own.
Putting families in, fly home, but you gotta stay strong when you walking on your own and turn BS to real life. But don't expect it to be easy breezy. Size being cheesy, it's slightly greasy like an Eskimo trying to sell your bro that know he love the pole. His ass still ain't free. The truth is you take the good with the bad. If it's worth it, then on purpose it ain't easy to be had. But don't let it stop you, cause unless they pop you, then you gotta know the wind's already in the bag. It takes thick skin to walk amongst men that don't comprehend the grind that you're living in. Unfortunately, it usually proves to be negativity from friends and your family. But when you focus, you can't get caught slipping. You cool ranch while you living. Fly with eagle, not chickens, and you bound to see between you and me that there's no enemies. And yes, success is the proof. Me, I'm still noodle flowing in the booth. If you need more proof, go and check me mirror, cause it couldn't be clearer that you're bound for the top. So stay on your grind and don't you dare ever stop it. When it's roadblocks, act like mad cops, it only means you just have it. You know what I'm saying? This goes out to everybody out there getting it. Have it. You know what I'm saying? This goes out to everybody out there getting it on their own. Like I said, you over there, feel me, with the fade, all the barbershops, hair salons, nail salons, massage parlors, dentist office, you feel me? Soul food restaurants, whatever you do, man. You work for yourself, it's your anthem right here, man. It's my salute to you.
I see you
Get it on your own. And if you employ other people, you're a real life hero. You know what I'm saying? Salute. Yeah. Keep getting it on your own.
Yeah, and we back. We in the building. Shout out everybody. Shout out to my brother Andrew Pride, aka Mr. PJ, in the building with his bro. And we here, man. So as I said, we're gonna be talking about social media. And you know it, 13, my dude. And so we're gonna be talking about social media. Some of the modern challenges that we face with social media, especially when you're a small business owner or you're somebody that's self-employed.
A lot has changed with social media lately, so it's not the exact same way that it was when it first came on the scene, right? A lot has changed. And a lot of people are really starting to engage less and less with social media. Now, for us as business owners and people who make our living and provide for our families by engaging with our audience and building our brands and whatnot, using social media, that is presenting some different challenges, right? So we're going to look at some of those challenges and how we cannot fall victim to them, right? And we'll also look at some videos that I found on TikTok and discuss some of those things. All right, so let's go and get into it, man. Y'all know how we do. So one of the biggest problems with social media, and it's kind of inherent in social media, right? And that's the problem of things being free. So when you start or when you open up an account on a social media platform, you get the account for free, correct? Just get your email address and set up some basic information, and from that point on, you can use that platform. The problem with that is people don't value free the same as they do something that they pay for. So what does that really have to do with us as business owners? We don't own the platforms, right? Well, the problem comes in is because they don't have to exchange anything with you financially for access to you. Now, especially for my content creators out there, this is a really important factor that you're going to have to consider. And we're going to go into this in more detail later on throughout the presentation, and I'll break down exactly what I'm talking about. But we really need to understand a fundamental problem with social media for those of us that use it for business, and that's because things are free on social media. Most people see little to no value, and value is going to come up again and again throughout this presentation. So let's keep that in mind. Now, as people, as humans, there's a subconscious or psychological thing in our mind that equates something with being free as having little or no worth, right? We associate price with value. Now, there's a flaw in that. As consumers, that's a flawed way to think. But as business owners, we definitely can't associate with a price with the value of something. Worth and value are very different from price. So we're primarily going to be talking about worth and value today, not specifically price in the sense that we think of with free, but we're talking about worth and value. So this is a video that I found. I thought that the real estate market right now would be a very good case study, I guess you could say, for us to look at regarding this topic with social media. Now, real estate isn't directly related to social media, correct? But what we see happening with the housing market, we can use that to learn a lot about value and how people relate and translate things as far as value goes. So I want to take a look at this young lady's video right quick. I thought it was pretty interesting, and we're going to listen to what she got to say about her experience with trying to sell her house, and that's going to get us started in this conversation about value. All right, so let's get it going.
Life update for those who care. I just took my house off the market, and I'm going to tell you why. Before I get into this, I want to make sure that I mention I am not an expert. I'm just talking about what I've seen in my neighborhood, okay? I listed my house 23 days ago, and at the time, there were only 2 houses for sale. Both of them had been sitting on the market for a little over 30 days. As soon as I listed, 4 more houses for sale, including my neighbor. And since then, there's been 2 more. I don't like competition, so I took my house off, but that's not the only reason. I started going just a little bit outside of my neighborhood to see how long those houses were sitting. 75 days, 89 days. Your girl know how to take a hint. If houses are not selling and they're sitting, I'm not about to have the house on the market right now. It's just not a good time, obviously. So I started doing some research because I'm thinking I can't be the only person going through this. I ended up finding this article. 2 states where home prices are falling because there are too many houses and not enough buyers. They are talking about Florida and Texas. Now, the experts say that we're not going to have a housing market crash, but it looked like it. So anyway, I'm just going to wait until after the market cools down a little bit and then I'll try again.
So, I know it may be a little bit confusing as far as exactly what this has to do with social media and business owners being able to survive in the age of social media. But remember, this isn't just a discussion about social media. In order for us to understand what's happening with social media, we really have to understand value, right? So I'm going to use real estate to demonstrate the way value and the perception of value affects our customers and consumers. So what she is experiencing right now with the inability to sell her house is directly related to the issue of value and worth. Because what happens is a lot of people over the last few years, whenever there's a really good housing market, a lot of people buy houses then, right? Prices start to drop. But as people begin to buy houses, the demand for the houses goes up, which pushes the price up. And a lot of people end up with houses that they paid a lot more for than they're actually worth. Real estate is a perfect example for this with social media, because real estate prices are based on something called a fair market value, right? The fair market value, meaning what are the other houses in your area that are comparable to your home? What are they selling for? There's no set price. The price of a house can get pushed as high as people are willing to pay for that house, right? So think of value as what people are willing to pay for something. That's different from price. Price is what you charge, but the value is what someone's willing to pay for it, right? So I want to go look at this next video because this brother's going to bring up an even better point when it comes to analyzing these things. And he's looking at why Americans are having such a hard time with selling their houses. And there are a couple key points in here that I really want everybody that's watching to pay attention to. Smashing Idol, what's going on, brother? Shalom to all my people in the house, man. Appreciate you pulling up. So let's check out and see what he's talking, the housing market. And again, I'll tie these things in throughout the presentation so you'll understand how it relates to the topic when it comes to social media.
You're going to want to pay attention to these two groups of people. Now, just for reference, interest rates are still high right now, and there's about 4.6 million people that are out of work. And as we enter this recession, it's going to get more and more intense. Now, the first group of people, the ones that are not selling, these are the people that everyone thinks going to make the housing market go up, when in fact they're going to make it go down. These are the people that have 2% interest rates. They hate their home, they want a different home, but they don't want to triple their mortgage payment, so they're not selling right now. When interest rates drop, they're going to be selling by the millions, and this is going to put more pressure on the market and flood the market with inventory. Now, the second group of people, these are people that bought at the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022 and used a lot of these loans like FHA that didn't require a lot of money down, and they are stuck in their house. Their home value is already not worth what they paid for it, and they don't have enough equity to get out of it without beginning to...
Is the video playing smoothly?
This is going to get significantly worse.
Let me pause this for a second.
Unemployment's going to continue to rise. And
on my end, the video looks like it's glitching. Is it playing pretty smoothly for you guys, or is it glitching too? Nah, it's playing a little smooth. I don't know, I'm not sure. We'll go back. Okay, well, regardless, I'm not going to mess with that too much because I don't want to mess up the stream. Oh, question. Do you think we can get out of this cycle? I feel like they tricked us into thinking we can't own real estate. All right, appreciate you, PJ. I may have to skip some of the videos. I'll answer that right quick. Yeah, you can get out of the cycle. The thing about right now, I'm gonna tell you, if you really want to know the truth about what's going on with real estate right now, this is a good thing for those of us who don't own real estate, right? The pricing, especially in real estate, again going back to fair market value, is based on what someone's willing to pay, right? So it kind of works like this. Even playing field. This is the house. These are the people that want to buy a house. As the inventory, the more houses that go on the market, the fewer the people that can buy it, the less they're willing to pay for it, because there's so many houses available and so few people to buy them that in order to sell them, you have to dramatically cut the selling price of your home to out bid or get the attention of a buyer, because there's so many houses available. But when there are more buyers available than there are houses available, that's what pushes the price of housing upward, right? So with what we're seeing right now, because you have so many people, okay, the word's clear, okay. Because you have so many people who cannot afford to buy a house right now, the more houses that go on the market, the cheaper they're going to have to make them to entice people to buy them. You know, the fundamental principle of economics and investing, the buy low, sell high. Those of us who haven't been able to afford a house, if you're patient, if things continue the way that they're going, you'll be able to get the house that you really want cheaper than you could if everything was going the way they wanted to go in the industry, because that would push the prices up. So because there aren't people available to buy the houses that are on the market, they're going to have to cut the prices in order to sell the home. So that's where that buy low, sell high will come into favor for us as new home owners or people that just want to buy a house as your first or your 10th house, right? So this is what you call a buyer's market, meaning you have more houses for sale than you have buyers available to buy it. And that's a good thing for us. So to answer your question directly, yes, we can get out of the cycle. And right now, what you should be doing, if you're serious about buying a home at some point in the future, you should be getting your credit together. You should be making sure you have as much income coming in as you possibly can, and saving. Because the longer this market continues, the better it's going to be for you as a buyer. What you don't want to do is jump out there and buy a house in a hot market because the demand is pushing the price sky high. Does that make sense, Smash? I can be long-winded, man, so I be explaining things, like over-explaining things sometimes. But yeah, it's actually, for those of us who are seeking to buy real estate, this is a good thing for you. You want the prices to drop. And so that's what's happening right now. So don't necessarily feed into the hype or the fear-mongering about real estate. Pay attention to your finances and position yourself to take advantage of the market while it's low, while the pricing is low, if that makes sense. All right, so getting back to the presentation again, we're talking about value. And that question, actually, I guess I can use that to transition into the next part. The difference between price and value, right? Yeah, man, this is the time right now. We shouldn't be so focused about buying right now. Now is the time to get into position to be able to buy at some time in the future. Right now, this is kind of a equalizing of the market. The housing prices have been ridiculous, honestly. These houses are selling for prices that they're not worth. You get what I'm saying? It was just it was a hot market. A lot of people buying real estate. A lot of people that own real estate buying multiple houses. A lot of investment into it. And that pushed the price up. Same thing happened in 2008 with the mortgage crisis. But for you, if you're thinking like a business owner, if you're thinking like a hustler, buy low, sell high. So you need the prices to come down for it to make sense for you to buy. Because when you buy that house when that price is low, when the market starts to swing up and more people like you are buying houses, it's going to push the value of your house up, which is going to give you equity in that home because you bought it at a lower price. So value and price, we equate them as the same thing in our minds, but they are not the same thing. All right. And we're talking about social media and how businesses can benefit from it. But what's going on in housing right now really illustrates the difference between price and value and worth. The house might actually only be worth $200,000, but the previous owner or the seller paid $300,000 for it, so they're already upside down. So now they're trying to charge you $300,000 for a house that should really only be worth about $200,000, and so your price is $300,000, even though the worth is $200,000. That makes sense. And that's actually very similar to what we see happening with social media. Now, I really want to play these videos because some of the points that these guys were making about real estate are really, really valid. And I really wish I could share them with y'all, but I can see now that I guess it's just the bandwidth and my internet. I can't really stream that video live. So I'm going to skip this video and we're just going to go on continuing. But what you really need to remember is that there's a difference between what something is worth, the value of it, what someone's willing to pay, and what somebody's trying to charge you for it, which is the price. All right. So perceived value drives pricing. Right. I'll use something that I'm very passionate about: cars. I'm a big car guy. I love cars. The other day I had a little thing flash up on my phone about a Ferrari that sold recently, an F50. A F50 is my ultimate dream car, a Ferrari F50. I remember when the F50 came out in like 1995. The car was, and I'm going to say this respectfully, the car was only like $600,000 for the F50, right? But they just had one sale a couple weeks ago for $5 million. That's a 1990, that was a 96 model, a 1996 Ferrari F50 that was less than $1 million brand new, just sold for $5 million in 2025, right? Because of the perceived value. It's a collector's car. They only made, how many F50s they made? I don't even think, they might have made about 500 for the entire world. It's not like a 458 or a Ferrari that's more mass produced. Very limited production. So that makes the value go up because they're collector's items, right? So the perception of value drives the price. Now the ironic thing is that at the end of the day, fundamentally, that Ferrari can only do the same thing that a $5,000 1992 Ford Taurus can do. It's going to take you from point A to point B. But one costs $5,000 and the other costs $5 million. And the difference is the perception of value. You see what I'm saying? It's not the functionality of it. They both drive. They both will get you from here to there. They serve their function. But one has a much, much higher perceived value because of the brand, because of the rarity of the car, because of what it can do that Ford Taurus can't do. So the perception of that value pushes the price up, right? So we're going to look at that in relationship to luxury goods. Now we talked about the way perception and value affect real estate. Now let's talk about how it affects other things. This is the luxury item market. So, man, I really want to play these videos, but I don't want to keep glitching the stream up. So this was a video that I found. I'm sure you probably remember perception. That's right. The key word is perception. That's right. So you all probably remember a few months ago, there was this big thing going on when China started exposing what luxury brands were actually paying for the products and then charging us. So this is a perfect example of the difference between cost, price, and value. Now in this video, that Birkin bag that he is holding retails for for $38,000. $38,000 for that bag. In this video, he breaks down all the components, including the human labor to actually stitch the bag and make the bag. The total cost to produce that bag is about $1,400, a little less than $1,400, right? So a bag that costs $1,400 US dollars to make sells for 38,000 US dollars. Now, for us as entrepreneurs, hustlers, business owners, content creators, anybody that's out here getting it on their own, you have to understand this term right here as well, and that's profit margins. That bag has a 96% profit margin. What profit margin means is how much of the price that you paid for is actually profit. 96% of the cost of that bag at $38,000 is all profit for Birkin. It only cost them $1,400 to make the bag. So if they can sell it to someone for $38,000, 96% of that $38,000 is profit. So you get the difference between the cost of something. The cost of that bag is $1,400. The price of the bag is $38,000. But what's the value of the bag? $38,000. You know why? Because people pay that for it. Just like with housing. Now, if they made that $1,400 bag and no one bought it at $38,000, they would have to drop the price to sell it. But even if they drop it to $20,000, they only paid $1,400 for it. So they still making a shitload of profit. You get what I'm saying? So value is about what somebody's willing to pay you for something, what they're willing to give you in exchange to have something. I know, right? It's wild, man. And I think that's kind of what drove, especially here in America, drove a lot of people the way that it did when the information started coming out, because you think the value of the bag is $30,000 because that's what you paid for it. But it's not really $30,000. It's only that because you was willing to pay that for it. If you wasn't willing to, it wouldn't have been that valuable. And once people start to realize these things, it started to kill the luxury brand market. Because most consumers do not understand there's a difference between cost, price, and value. Right? But this is legit hustle. This for hustlers, this for go-getters, this for entrepreneurs, this for self-employed people. So we can't afford to be ignorant in that way. We have to understand the difference between cost, price, and value. Why is that important? Well, as a business owner, you want to be profitable. But many people go into business not knowing that the price that you charge somebody for something should already include your profit margins in it. You should already know how much profit you're going to get off something when you sell it. If I sell plates, like I hope my homie Smoke is listening. If you listening, Straight Smoke, this one for you, bro. So somebody like my bro Straight Smoke, right? He cooks and he sells food. But in order for him to be profitable, he has to know the exact cost for every one of them plates. If you want to come and get some ribs, 2 sides, and a roll, he has to know exactly how much that cost him, so that he knows how much to price it at, to guarantee that he not only makes the money back that he spent for the ingredients, but he also makes a profit. Man, listen. Hey, look. When I was doing this, Smash, I had to really fight not to get into the relationship conversation, because it's like, ooh, y'all don't be understanding. Like y'all trying to price this thing at a value that it ain't worth. You know what I'm saying? But it is a little bit of a relationship there. But yeah. So now let's actually talk about social media. Remember in the beginning, I said one of the fundamental flaws with social media for us as entrepreneurs and hustlers and self-employed people is that social media is free, right? So people go on to social media, they're not accustomed to paying money for social media. They're not accustomed to valuing a platform that much, right? Because it's free. But guess what though? Look at this graphic right here. Now, even though they give you a free account, 90% of their revenue comes from advertising. But they give it to you free. They don't charge you to open up your account. They don't charge you to post anything on the account. How are they making billions of dollars? Through advertising. And I'm going to detour a little bit here. I don't want to get too much into the business model of social media. But since I got some people in the house with me right now, I'm going to ask y'all a question. Drop it in the chat. What business is social media platforms in? What is the name of their business? What industry are they in? Drop it in the chat if you think you know the answer. And I hate for the little lag between it, but I'm going to wait for you guys to drop me an answer. It's got a little bit of delay on my end from y'all, so. We're going to see if y'all can come up with the right answer. What is the business that social media platforms are in? What do you think it is? What is their actual business? Just so we don't have to wait too long, because there's such a difference between me right now and what y'all are seeing on your end, I'm going to tell you the answer. If you think it's content, no. If you think it's media because it's in the name, no. Social media platforms are in the business of data. Their business is based on data. What type of data? Your data, my data, your name. Okay, I see PJ. PJ said entertainment. By the time you hear this part, you'll have heard my answer. But their business is data, right? So when you sign up for, let's say, a Facebook account, everything about you becomes monetizable data for the platform, not you, the content creator. They know your name. They know your email address. Sometimes we put our phone numbers on there. Sometimes we put our physical address. We put a lot of information in there about ourselves, right? But not only that, more importantly, they can track what you do. I'm going to give you a real life example. Because I work in advertising and I run ads. When I get ready to run ads on Facebook, I can target you. I can target the customers by what phone they use. If I only want to target Apple users, I can have my ads only go to people using Apple products. I can target it by which iOS operating system you use. If I want to target only Android users, I can exclude all Apple users. I can target a person by what music they like. Every time you're scrolling on social media and you like something, that platform knows what song was playing, what the content was, and you liked it. So that data gets stored. So for me as an entrepreneur, for you as an entrepreneur, anybody that runs ads know that's what the platforms are there for. They are not there for the public. They are for businesses. They are for people like us that are trying to make money using them. Their business is data so that we can sell to customers. That's why they're worth billions, because they have all this information about you that people like me and people like you can use to sell to customers, to target exactly who we want to try to sell something to. So that gets into the problem with social media and it being free. 90% of a platform's revenue comes from ads, but most content creators don't earn a dime off the content they produce. The platform is worth billions, and we put uploading content, constantly producing for most of us to make $0. This isn't a guess, this is actual statistical data. Most content creators don't make a dime, and the platforms make billions because their business is data, not content. You get where I'm going with that? So there's already a fundamental misconception of what social media is for. Yes, under the premise and the guise that it's for bringing people together, and it does that. But this is legit hustle. We talk about business over here. We talk about making money over here. So we got to think like the platform, not the content creator. You get me? So their business isn't content. The content is to keep us on there, giving them more data about what we like, what we don't like, what we'll buy, what we won't buy. You get what I'm saying? That's their business. And because most people that get into business don't understand the nature of social media, there's a bit of disillusionment that's happening with it. Why? Let's move on and talk about that. We're going to talk about Instagram models, for an example. And I not to pick on any of my ladies. Ladies, this is not a pick on y'all session. This is not a bashing session. I'm going to be honest with you. I like Instagram models. There's a bunch of y'all fine ass girls out there. I be under your pictures. I flirt with you on IG. I'm not on there a lot. But it's beautiful women on there, right? But they don't make no money. You see somebody on IG, they'll have 1 million followers. And you think because you see them posted up in front of a picture of a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, it ain't theirs. They're doing that to get more engagement on their picture. They're trying to project an image of success in order to try to get there. It's the whole fake it till you make it thing. When in actuality, a person can have 1 million followers, as this points out, get 5% engagement, which 5% of 1 million is what, like 50,000? So if you got 1 million followers and she get 50,000 likes on that picture, guess how much money she made? 0. You can have 1 million followers, get 50,000 likes, and not make a dime. Why? Because pretty isn't valuable. A lot of IG models and women and people on social media, they don't understand what the value is. And just because you're pretty and attractive don't mean there's no value in it for me to give you some money. So what do they end up doing? Fellas, y'all know what happens. They end up begging you for cash apps. You thinking, oh, she cute. Let me try to holler at her. You jump in her DMs, and next thing she hit you back is she want a cash app. Because she can't make no money off of her content. All those likes, all that engagement, and not a single fucking dime. Because they don't understand social media, and they don't understand that there's no value in just being pretty. Now, any men watching this, ladies, the same goes true for you. I can't walk around thinking I'm the most fine man you ever seen. I'm a realist. I know as soon as I walk around the corner, it's probably going to be another brother come from that corner that you find more attractive than me. And beauty is very subjective, because this person finds someone attractive doesn't mean anyone else will. So there's no value in itself in just being attractive. Pretty doesn't pay. Contracts do. So let's talk about what that looks like. Now, we all remember this debacle, right? The American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney and the Beyonce Levi's ad. But this isn't to get into this race thing and this hustle. We ain't talking about that. We looking at these things from the perception of a hustler, of an entrepreneur, of a small business owner, of a content creator, of somebody that's self-employed, that's trying to take care of themselves and their family. So we have to look at this as a business, right? So let me show you why pretty isn't valuable. Sydney Sweeney. Some people think she beautiful. Some people think she don't. My personal opinion isn't important in this matter. But to be honest with you, she's attractive. She's a nice looking lady, right? But that's not why she's on the cover of there. The business don't care that she's pretty. There's a million pretty people they can use. But look at the value. So I tried to find some information on the contracts as far as what both of these ladies made from these ads and these contracts. But it's not available to the public, so we kind of had to go with some speculation, right? So let's look at this. Now, although we don't know the details of her contract, we do know that her fee was likely in the high 6 or 7 figures. She took one picture that got blasted out all over the internet and all over the world. And for that, she made anywhere from, we'll say high 6 figures is 600,000 to 7 figures, which could be 9 million. So that one picture made her anywhere from $600,000 to $9 million. Find me an IG model that makes $600,000 off a picture. You can't. And many of them are far more attractive than she is. So if pretty was actually valuable, they should be making $600,000 a picture too. But it's not. Let's look at Beyonce. Now, let me see. All right, I'll tell y'all. I got a Beyonce story, right? So I actually had a chance to meet B. I was at Lenox Mall one day. It was a Saturday. This is like 2002, 2003. And I'm at Lenox Mall in Atlanta. And I'm standing in the valet of Lenox Mall, where they park all the cars at and whatnot. And I walked out the front of the mall, and I saw this girl with some jeans on and a white t-shirt and a baseball cap. But I mean, she had a nice shape. She was cute. But it was nothing outstanding. This is Atlanta, bro. Especially in that time. She was an average Atlanta girl. Right? No knock to Beyonce, because I'm finna explain to you that she's not average. But just off visuals, prettiness, she was an average Atlanta girl, right? So I noticed her, but I didn't really pay attention to her. I walked up to where they were pulling the cars up, and she was literally standing right here beside my right shoulder. We were shoulder to shoulder, and I was standing there, and one of the valet parkers, the guys that parked the cars, he came on this side of me, and he was like, "Hey man, do you know who you standing beside?" And I'm like, "Who?" He was like, "Beyonce." I looked over and I looked back at him like, "Nigga, please." And he was like, "Yeah, bro, Beyonce, right?" So I look over and she's got a hat on kind of like this, and it's probably pulled down about like mine, right? So my babe's probably a little lower. So when just walking up, you probably wouldn't notice much about her facial features. So I leaned over and peeked up under her hat. And Beyonce knows, Beyonce Carter, looked me dead in my eyes and gave me the most warm smile ever, nigga. Yo, check it out. It's people that pay hundreds of dollars to go to her concert that have never made eye contact with Beyonce. I got a chance to look Beyonce in her eyes one-on-one, and she smiled at me, dog. So yes, I had a chance to meet Beyonce. And just in case you wondering, yeah, I punked out. I ain't say nothing. You know, that's the only time in my life I've ever been starstruck. I've met a lot of celebrities. That's the only time I was ever starstruck, that I didn't say nothing. I just stood back up and was like, oh my goodness. And at this time, you know, it wasn't really out there that her and Jay was together. It was kind of rumors because Jay was in town that week too. But it was just one of them moments, man. Like, I actually got to look Beyonce in her eye. She's standing right here. I could have put my arm around her, bro. She's standing right here. And she looked me in my eyes and she smiled at me. And it was one of them kind of smiles like, don't say nothing. I'm trying to be a regular person today. You know what I'm saying? Man, it'd be so hot in here. But yeah, that's my Beyonce story. But back to what we were talking about, right? So let's look at Beyonce's ad. Because we're talking about value. Specifically, why just being pretty on social media has no value. Right? So Beyonce's ad, not publicly known what the contracts actually were. But in the first 48 of that, the launch of that campaign in September, Levi's generated $5 million in media impact value. Remember that word, value? In 48 hours, that picture put $5 million in value in Levi's pockets on their bottom line. Is Beyonce the most pretty girl in the world? No. Beyonce knows she's not the most pretty girl in the world. Right? But there's no value in being pretty. There's a lot of pretty, and beauty is so subjective. But you know why Beyonce? Now, it's estimated that B may have been paid about $5 million just for this ad. One picture, $5 million. Sydney Sweeney, one picture, that was $600,000 to $9 million. So if pretty is valuable, how are women that are not the prettiest making money that the average person on social media never see in their lifetime from one picture? Because the value isn't the pretty. Sydney Sweeney could get that kind of a contract because she has enough of a following. She has enough other young ladies who look up enough to her or follow her or whatever they do in that world, that her being in that ad led to more of their products being sold. Therefore, her influence is worth 6 figures, 7 figures. I ain't got to tell y'all about Beyonce's influence, right? They call it the beehive. Man, I ain't gonna say that on here, bro. I'm trying to grow my channel, man. You gonna get me in trouble. But the reason why Beyonce can make $5 million from one picture and the average girl on Instagram got to ask you for cash apps is because Beyonce has influence. Putting Beyonce in their ad means that Levi's sold more Levi's. That's why she got the money. Not because she pretty. Not just because it's Beyonce. She made money for them. Sydney made money for them. And again, this is legit hustle. So we got to think like the business. You got to think like American Eagle. You got to think like Levi's. Right? So the value for in that comparison is the influence. That's why a person on social media can have millions of followers, tons of engagement, and still be broke. Because you don't have no real influence. You ain't making money for nobody. There's nobody going to come along and say, hey, man, you know, I see you half naked on IG all the time. Here goes 6 figures. It's not how it goes. Now, can they get brand deals? Yeah, they can. And some of them do, especially with beauty products and clothing and things like that. Male content creators, we get that, but I'm using specifically females on IG for this example to illustrate the difference between what we think is valuable and what actually is value. Does that make sense? Remember, we're talking about value. So this is the fundamental problem with social media. It's free and it makes a lot of money for somebody, but not for the average content creator, not for the average person on there. They don't make a dime. So for us as business owners, you have to engage and handle social media like Levi's or like your Facebook. You have to think like the business. Does that make sense? So, how do we survive the death of social media? And why do I call it the death? Because people are engaging less and less on social media. Little side note, a lot of that has to do with the fakery on social media, right? The flexing and the flogging and trying to put on like you this and that. That only lasts for so long. Then it gets boring. You can only go on IG and see beautiful women that you never gonna have a chance with in life for so long before it's boring, right? So because people don't use social media platforms the way they're actually designed, which is to make money, people are starting to get disillusioned with it. So what's the solution for us as hustlers, entrepreneurs, small businesses, anybody out here getting on their own? What's the solution? The first thing you have to do is you have to define your value. What is the actual value about you? It can't be you're pretty. It can't be you're an attractive man and women like you. Because they can like your pictures all day. It doesn't mean you're going to make a dime. So in order to start defining what your true value is, one, what problem do you solve? If I just go on social media and post pictures of myself because I think I'm attractive, what problem does that solve? None. So there's no value there. Also, who needs this solution? Well, because it just creating content on social media doesn't solve a problem for people. No one needs it. You see how this is compounding on each other? All this content out there, you can Google and search and go on TikTok and put in any term you want to. Thousands of videos gonna come up. All this content out there. But how much of it actually solves a problem for anybody? How many people that make content know exactly who they're making content for to solve a problem for? See, those are things that business owners have to think about. I have a background in barbering, right? Cutting hair solves a specific problem for somebody. And there are people who need that specific solution. Therefore, they pay you for it. But how much would someone pay me to just come in the shop, sit in my chair, get up and leave, and I didn't do nothing? How many times you go on social media and you see some content or you see somebody attractive or not or whatever? It can be whatever. But it don't add no value to your life. It might be slightly entertaining, but it don't add no value. It doesn't solve any problems for you. It doesn't make your life better. It might make you laugh, giggle, might turn you on, whatever the case, but it doesn't solve a problem. So for most people, especially in content creation, they can't answer the first two creations, which means there's no value in what they're doing. No matter how many likes they're getting, no matter how many subscribers they have, there's no value in it. So therefore, they have to ask you for cash apps when you like their pictures, right? The third question, because most people can't answer the first two questions, the third is irrelevant. But for us as business owners, your third question is, what makes your approach unique? Right? What makes it unique? What makes you different? When you can answer those questions about what you're doing, now you're starting to understand what your actual value is. And once you understand what the value of something is, then you can start putting prices on it. Then you can start talking about how to make money doing it. Right? Right, PJ, same thing with you. See? Because even with lawn care, that solves a very specific problem, doesn't it? And then you have to just find the people that need that solution that your lawn care provides the solution to. right? And you, being PJ, you are what make it unique. All right? Imagine if you, not saying you should do this, but what if every time he went to go do a yard, y'all, he took the homeowners a box of chocolates? Think about doing something like that. Who thinks would do that? Every time you go to cut somebody's hair, you bring them a box of chocolates or some roses or a teddy bear, right? Not to be flirtatious, just to be so different that that person values you. A lot of people might can cut the grass. A lot of people might can cut that haircut. But what makes you different? What makes you unique? And when you can answer these questions, now you're starting to understand what your value is. And now you can start talking about how do you make money. Right? Second thing, you have to monetize beyond the platform. Going back to IG, most people are producing content hoping to get a check from the platform for their content. That is an ass business model. And to be totally honest with y'all, that's one of the reasons why I didn't never really care about making content before now. Because I wasn't doing it to try to get paid from YouTube. I don't care about the platform paying me. Because my business is monetized off of YouTube. My business isn't on YouTube. I own companies. I have things I sell people. I have services I sell people. I build applications. I do AI and automations. I do consulting. I have books, courses, classes that people pay me for. That got nothing to do with YouTube. So if you never saw me, I could still make money. You never know who I was if I wasn't on this channel. Right? So you have to monetize beyond the platform. Well, Mike, I don't got no business. That's a simple problem to fix. Affiliate marketing, drop shipping. Affiliate marketing means you ain't got to have nothing. You ain't got to make no products. You ain't got to know how to do nothing. You just got to know how to get people's attention and sell them something. And it's not as glamorous as it used to be. You don't hear people talking about drop shipping and affiliate marketing as much as they did years ago. But look at the statistics. Affiliate marketing is a $17 billion a year industry. And that was in 2024. And it's still going to keep going up. Drop shipping, a $476 billion industry. And it's going to keep going up. So now imagine you're that same young lady on IG or that same brother on Facebook. You got 1 million subscribers. You getting 5% engagement, which means you're getting about 50,000 likes or so on your content when you post it, right? Except now you're selling somebody something too. How many of those 50,000 likes, how many of those 1 million subscribers do you need to buy something to make a very good living at it? Not a whole lot. If you're getting 50,000 eyes on your content, if you only sold 10% of them something, that's 5,000 sales. If the item costs $2, that's $10,000. You see? But you can't do that if you're not monetized beyond that platform. And I'm going to give you a little game. For anybody who watches this who's into content creation, take it from a web developer, from somebody who codes and builds apps, and who has been an entrepreneur and a hustler his whole life. What I'm about to tell you is the game. All right? Peep this. Whenever you launch something new, you have a promotional campaign, right? If you open up a new restaurant, you're going to have a grand opening. If you open up a barbershop, you're going to have a grand opening, right? When the new platform come out, they have a grand opening. You know what that grand opening is? They pay content creators really well just to put content on the channel. That's their marketing. Your content is what's getting people to sign up to TikTok, or to get them to sign up whatever new platform comes out. Your content. So in the beginning, yes, they're paying you because that's their marketing strategy. But once you get people on the platform that's using it, once you're getting a lot of people downloading and the numbers are going up, guess what they start doing? Cutting out paying content creators because they don't need you no more. They need people to use the platform because their business is data, not content. See, when you think that a social media platform is about content and not data, you don't understand how they make money, so you don't know how to make money on there. They're paying you in the beginning to get users on the platform. And then they come back and they make policy revisions. They change this. Just go on TikTok and look at some of the changes that TikTok has made to their policies now. And the impact that it had on content creators. Now imagine you done built your life based on TikTok checks. You done bought a house. You done bought a new car. And with a push of a button, TikTok said, nope, that's gone. You was making $5,000 a month. Nope, you're going to make $1,500 now. What you going to do about it? It's their platform. And most content creators can't do anything about it because they're not monetized beyond that platform. But when you're monetized beyond the platform, whatever changes they make don't matter to you. You're not making your money from them. You're using their users just like they use them to sell them something. Does that make sense? So you have to monetize beyond that platform. The third thing you need to do, remember we talked about the Birkin bag and what the profit margins were for them? A $38,000 bag with 96% of that $38,000 being pure profit. You have to think the same way. Not exploit people, because that's exploitive, right? But from the very beginning of making money online, you have to have your profits included in what you're doing. Digital products, about 90% profit margin. What are digital products? MP3s, downloads, ebooks, software, anything that doesn't require a physical product that can be sold digitally has about a 90% profit margin. Remember, the Birkin bag had 96% profit margins. So just by selling a digital product on your platform, you can get 90+% profit margins. Just like they do. As opposed to thinking you're going to get paid from IG or Facebook or YouTube just for making content. When you start selling things, now you're operating like a business, right? Physical goods, the average profit margin is 15%. But guess what? Doesn't matter because you're still making profits, right? A profit margin is a percentage. So just because that's 15% doesn't mean you necessarily making less money. Because your product might cost way more than digital product. My ebooks cost about $10. But what if you selling cars? So while your profit margins might only be 15%, you still gonna make more than my $10 ebook. You're gonna make a few $1,000s because you're selling something that's way more expensive. So don't let the difference in the margins throw you off. It's not necessarily important what you're selling. But you got to be selling something. Otherwise, you're just putting content on a platform with no value to it for real, except to the platform, who's making billions off of it. And you can't get $1. Remember that, the other graphic? Most content creators don't make a dime off of their content because they're not monetized off of the platform. They don't know their real value. They're not solving any solutions for anybody. They don't know what makes them unique. They're not selling anyone anything. They have no idea about profit margins, but they want to make money. It's ludicrous. And that's leading to some people's disillusionment with social media. It don't work. I can't make no money. I was doing all this. I got 50,000 views. I ain't make but $10 and all. Yes. Because you don't understand business. If you understood business, you would know how to turn that into big money. And it doesn't mean getting paid from the platform. All right? And then the fourth thing is repeat the cycle. Measure your results. Find out what's working. When you find out what type of content you produce that people like and they actually buy from, make more of that content. Grow your revenue. Refine what you're doing. Refine your offer. All of those things go into how you actually make money with social media. Not producing content. The content serves the purpose of getting someone's attention. In order for me to sell you something, I have to first get your attention. If I can't get your attention, I can't sell you anything. Right? But if you can get 50,000 people's attention, them 50,000 chances to sell somebody something. Why you ain't sell them nothing? If you're an attractive woman on IG and dudes like pulling up looking at your body, sell them niggas some condoms. Sell them something. They might buy from you just 'cause they like looking at you. Thinking they got a chance again with you one day. But sell them something. You got eyes. You got 50,000 eyes on you if you got 50,000 likes. And you ain't sell them nothing? They were just supposed to come out and send you some money on Cash App because you cute, huh? That don't work. Beyonce didn't get that because she pretty. She brought it because she brought value to Levi's. So she's worth the millions. Sydney Sweeney didn't get those 6-7 figures because she cute. She brought value to American Eagle. You see what I'm saying? You see how it all goes back to the beginning when we were talking about understanding value, and then talking about why so many content creators, and I use, again, just the IG models as an example, ladies. I'm not bashing you. I'm not talking shit to you. I'm just using it as an example. And I'd be a hypocrite if I talked about you too bad, because I also admitted that I look at y'all. I like looking at you, okay? So that's just what it is. But going back to this, you have to define what your value is. As a matter of fact, let's go back. Define your value. Figure out a way to monetize yourself beyond the platform. Define your profit margins. Know exactly how much you're making off every time somebody buys something from you. And then repeat it all over and over and over again. All right? So for us as entrepreneurs, hustlers, go-getters, this has to be our mentality on social media. Even if you're a content creator, stop thinking about it in the terms of being a content creator. You have to think in terms of a business. And businesses make money by selling somebody something. Whether it's a haircut, whether it's a lawn care, cutting or trimming the hedges like my bro here. Whether you're a truck driver and you're hauling something from state to state, businesses make money by selling somebody something, either a product or a service. So sell somebody something. You see? And that is why social media is dying. Because most people thought that it was something that you could just get out there and posting, and if people like it, you was going to make money. I knew from day one that wasn't going to work. I don't care how much money they was paying at first. There was no long-term sustainability in that because there's no value in that. And none of these platforms are in business to pay you. They're in business to make money. But they will pay you if you're valuable enough. But you ain't got to wait on them to pay you because you can sell people stuff yourself in the process and pay yourself. You see? So social media is dying because people are becoming very disillusioned with it because their expectations was not right from the go. They were expecting something that was unrealistic because they don't think like hustlers. They don't think like business people. They don't understand how business works. They don't understand how you make money in business. So what does that mean for us? If you follow the steps that I laid out, those 4 little simple steps, it won't matter what the next thing will be. We don't know. I can't tell you what the next progression of social media is going to be. 30 years ago, there was no social media. So I can't tell you what that thing is going to be 30 years from now. But guess what doesn't change? Business. Business is still one person selling somebody something. One person selling another person a product or service. That's how business is. So it doesn't matter what the platform is going to be. It doesn't matter what the next big thing is going to be. Because if you develop your mindset to think like a business, stop thinking like a consumer, stop thinking like a content creator, think like a business. And it won't matter what the next thing is. You'll just transition over to the next thing and you'll keep making money doing that. That makes sense? Oh, what did you say, Smash? Right. You see, so that is the problem with social media. People were kind of sold this dream because a lot of big corporations, they capitalize on people's ignorance, right? The housing industry capitalizes on people's industry. Most people don't know how to properly buy a house. So now a lot of people got houses that they got a mortgage on that the house will never sell for. They owe more money on the house than it's worth. And now they're trying to sell it to get out the situation. I'll give y'all a suggestion. There's a brother on YouTube. I watch his content sometimes. Smash, if you really want to figure out how to capitalize on this market, I'm going to give you a name on YouTube. He's funny too, man. He had me cracking up, but he'll break the real estate game down for you very well. And his name is Orlando Miner. Check out Orlando Miner's channel and his content, and then you'll understand what's happening with real estate. This is simply a buyer is going into a buyer's market. And if you're patient in real estate, man, you can get a house that may have been something you couldn't afford a couple years ago, but because there's nobody to buy them right now, and they're gonna have to cut the prices to sell them, the prices are going to come down to meet the demand. You'll be able to get more house if you're just patient, right? So when you're looking at the economy, don't buy into the good, bad economy stuff and all the fear mongering and to be scared. As hustlers and entrepreneurs, we look at, is it time to buy or is it time to sell? Right now, it's the time to sit on your money and prepare to buy when the time is right. Because sellers can't sell right now. You see what I'm saying? We don't pay no attention to what they talk. The stock market don't matter. None of that matter. Do you know when more millionaires were made in this country? The Great Depression. Depressions are when millionaires and billionaires get made. Because of the basic principle of economics. You buy low and sell high. Well, when is it cheaper than during a depression? During a depression, the price of everything drops. But if you play the game right, you can buy that thing at $10, and then when the economy starts to recover, it's going to go back in worth $100 or $1,000, and now you just made a profit. So don't ever get caught up in the whole economy thing. You know what I'm saying? You have to be smart. You have to know how to think like a business, like a real hustler, and realize that when they saying it's bad, oh, everything's this and everything's that, you'll know how to move. You'll know how to navigate through that thing. You get what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all pulling up, man. I think that's the last slide right there. And with that being said, man, like I said, I appreciate y'all. Thank you, PJ. Thank you, Smash. Thank you everybody else that came through, that watched the broadcast. I appreciate y'all more than you know. And we're gonna rock out, man. I see it still doing that little thing it's doing. I don't know why it's buffering so much. But we're gonna close out with some music, man. And we're gonna rock out. We're gonna close out with my song Success. Alright? So I dedicate this to all the entrepreneurs out there All the people out there getting it on their own. You know what I'm saying? This for y'all. Again, thank y'all for pulling up. Appreciate you, PJ 13, bro. Smash. Thank you. Straight Smoke. Me and you talk. I hope you in there. Shout out to Philly. That's right. We in it to win it, bro. You already know. See, my bro in the chat, PJ, he know me in real life. Like this my homie for real. So he know me in real life. And we really on this type of time for real. So I appreciate y'all pulling up. Like I said, we gonna close out with my song Success, man. I appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Legit out. Oh, y'all know my motto. Hustle smarter, man. I got a question. What does success mean to you? Is it money? Is it fame? Whatever it is, make sure you define success for yourself. When you have a high drive for achievement, sometimes you get misunderstood. If no one else knows who you are and what you about, you gotta know who you are and what you about. Because otherwise, it'll play tricks with your mind, you know what I'm saying?
Am I really wrong for wanting to find the things? Create a new reality, chasing after a dream. Came up with a scheme, the destination was to win. And hop about the rat race that everybody was in. Misunderstood, but out for good like a quick break. You drop your guard, you get hit hard in a fist fight. Sometimes success, it comes with an evil twin. Like feeling detached, like where do I begin? When most of my friends, they think I'm all about a dollar. In reality, I think I'm more like a scholar who's just looking for an outlet, but hasn't figured out yet exactly how to express inspiration I'm blessed with. So, in between envy, jealousy, and greed, seeing others in need in a heart that still grieves. If all the bread in the world would mean that I could feed everyone, then what would it really mean? Probably not a thing.
So regardless, whatever you define success as, you know, make sure that you keep it balanced. Life isn't one-dimensional, so whatever you define as success, make sure you have a counterbalance to keep you grounded, like friends and family, something that you love, something bigger than yourself, you know? Check it.
On second thought, I'm tripping a little. You know life can't be Skittles when it's often a riddle. Like, why do most people in communities pay their bills on time? Cause of people like me. My business is make the world move. Whether it's cutting hair or serving soul food. What would we be as a society if the people don't have the tools to try to improve? So, to the baker, the candlestick maker, tired single parent rent, but still risk taker. To the kid that's dreaming somewhere right now, while everybody around them think his head's in the clouds. I'm here to tell you, you could never be a failure. You've accomplished more already than most people will ever, but never forget the success that you crave means be your own master and make money your slave.
So I guess what I'm saying is, it's all good to pursue things in life, pursue business, pursue whatever it is that we think makes us successful, but a truly successful life has to be balanced. You know, it can't be all about you. It can't be all about money. It can't be all about cars or jewelry or women or getting high, whatever it is, you know, whatever it is you do. So, stay balanced. That's Nirvana, by the way. Live your life in a state of balance. You know what I'm saying? And enjoy your success.